Good evening, everyone, and thank you for being on another Balkan Film Week film festival with us, the edition 2024. And for this year, we have the privilege of talking with Vlad Petri, one of the directors whose film we're showcasing in this year's festival feature. And so the title of the film that Vlad Petri we're presenting this year is called Between Revolution, and it's showcased on our first day of the festival because we wanted to open up the theme of Balkan films between resistance and resilience. And so, Vlad, thank you for being with us, and congratulations on your wonderful feature.
Thank you, and thank you for showing the film in Leipzig.
Absolutely, thank you very much. So let's start with our conversation with the first question, which, when I was watching your film, and it's very interesting because the story of Between Revolution showcases the notion of resistance and resilience through the connection between two main protagonists, Zahra and Marija. And their connection is tied with the political situation in both countries, which is Romania and Iran. So for me, as I understood it, it is a story how gender, democracy, freedom, and ultimately love resists under weighty conditions that the film shows. Is there a particular theme that you hope to underline specifically in the film?
I didn't start this project with necessarily a theme in my mind. I started it after a discussion I had with my mother regarding her student years. She told me about those years, the end of the 70s, where she studied medicine in a city in Romania, and she had many colleagues from the Middle East, because Romania, like other countries in the Balkans, was part of the non-aligned movement, which meant that students from Middle East and North Africa came to study in my country, and engineers and workers went to their respective countries to build infrastructure projects, to build highways, to participate in different kind of projects. So for me, it was really interesting, this social and economic relations between these two parts of the world, which are not very far away, but somehow are more separated today than they were during that time. And it was also this kind of feeling, this anti-imperialist feeling. Somehow these countries, that they weren't on the big table of the political powers sitting on that table, that they're trying to find alternative ways for their societies. So I was really curious because I was living for 10 years during communism. I was born in 1979 when the Islamic Revolution took place in Iran, and I was 10 when revolution happened in my own country. And for me, Romania during those 10 years, it was, of course, I was a child and I enjoyed being a child, but Romania was a very secluded, isolated country. So we always had these problems regarding the East and the West. I mean, we were fascinating as a society by the West. That's why in the 90s, after the revolution, when the first people from the West came, we were, like gods coming to our country. Everybody was, they wanted, and even recently, at some recent protests, people kept saying, we want a country like outside, but the only definition of outside is the West. I mean, Germany and Nordic countries. So, how about the East and about the South and the global South? It seems they don't exist. It seems that on an official level or on this general level, they could even, gray the map there. So for me, it was this connection, particularly with Iran, was interesting to see someone coming from Iran, coming to my country, this very Eastern European country, and being the West for her, and trying to, the things that she saw during the 70s, trying somehow to implement in their country. Because Zahra, this character, she comes from an intellectual left-wing background, and she wants to take part in her revolution, and she wants the outcome of the revolution to be different. So basically, I came with these ideas, and of course, it's a film that connects these two parts of the world, let's say, but I think it's not necessarily Romania and Iran, even if the archives are very local. But there were people telling me after the screening of the film that they could have been other countries. They connected with if they're from Balkans, they connected maybe with their countries that have been also living under socialism during those years. And gradually, we worked on the story, and our characters became closer and closer to each other. And for me, it was really interesting seeing these countries that are separated by thousands of kilometers on land or on sea, how they became closer and closer with the characters in the film. And for me, Marija and Zahra, they're like reflections in the mirror. I treated them all the time on the same level, and I was happy during the production process when I found similarities in the archives, when I found things that could happen in both of these countries and how these countries merged together in the film.
I really enjoy that you find this, let's say, transnational connection through your kind of approach to the topic. And especially in terms of film industry, I always think about how Iran has an amazing history of so to say, the new wave, the black wave. At the same time, when in Yugoslavia was the black wave, and then, similar wise, so not specifically in those years, but around those years. And then also connecting it to the French New Wave. So, I always was interested in how these countries and cultures overlap, because as you say, it's always the perception of where is East and what is West. And, but then in those years that you work on through archive and specifically through your film, that all comes together, in this kind of conversation, which I find really beautiful. Using letters as a medium is really a clever way to use narrative practices in documentary cinema, because it does allow this juxtaposition of personal, but that also kind of gives a perspective what's happening in that context, like in your film. So where, the surfaces of writing, like paper, but also the cinematic surface, which is a screen, kind of frame altogether one story, one biography, or several at the same time. So, and just to continue from this, this medium of letters, which is also very historically has been used, for women, let's say, to keep something secretive, but yet to do something such as connection with somebody or transmitting information without being caught or seen or, maybe jeopardized because of that action. And then that goes beautifully with your film, because Marija and Zahra are these women, who connect through these letters. So is this something, as you now just started saying, perhaps an angle you were thinking about when you were developing the story between Marija and Zahra, or did that just kind of allow you to expand your development of the story? It just helped you to work on the story in a more creative way for yourself as a director?
Yeah, of course, it helped. It helped to connect these images, which at the beginning were mostly coming from official archives. So they were more, let's say, colder in images, and through the text, it was easier to follow the narrative of the film. And I think it's a film where you don't see the faces of the characters, their bodies. It's so different when you see fiction or a documentary film, and you see a character, you care for these characters. You if you're really involved, you don't want something bad to happen. You want to be with the character because it's a facial and visual connection. But here it's more the connection with the audience is through the text and through imagination. I think all the darkest images in the film, or the left spots, you need to fill with your own imagination, and the letters help this. But at the same time, it was also a challenge in this time frame, in the film is 70 minutes. In these 70 minutes to tell this collective story of these two characters that are their experience is made from this collective portraits of women from Romania and Iran, and to have this chronology and how many things you can put in these letters. It was a challenge and also a narrative device that also helped on this emotional poetical level that I was also interested into. I didn't want to be only, let's say, a political archive film, but I also wanted this direction, and this structure helped me on this. I want to go back in the past to understand more of the present, and I also say about Between Revolutions that it's not a film about the past, even if it incorporates archives from the 70s and the 80s. It's a lot about the present, and of course many Iranians told me that they really feel these images. They're almost like from their streets, and what happened last year with the Max Amini protests. But not only about Iran, because when you see a film, you see the film from the present day. I mean, yeah, maybe on the way to the cinema, you met someone, you've been through something, and and after the cinema, you talk with people, you do other things. So it's even if you look in the past, I mean, your body. We go back to the bodies. Your body in the cinema is the body from the present, and you cannot dissociate the past from the present. So that's my interest to understand more, and that's why I want to go and explore more the past, my personal, my family's past, and also my country's past. There are so many unleft answers there, and I feel also I mean in the ways, not only from the point of view of the themes and the subject and how society was organized, but also from the point of view of filmmaking, from the techniques that people were using to document or to film something and to edit things, and it's really interesting to see how things were in the 80s, let's say, and how are things now. And as filmmakers, we produce, we doesn't matter if we do fiction or documentaries, we bring objects in this world which they become part of the collective memory. So maybe also because the history of cinema is not a long one compared to other arts, to painting and to literature. Let's say it's like yeah, we have more than 100 years. Yeah, it's like 130, 40. Yeah, like it's a very short history, and things are better and better preserved. So now I think the look in the past, it's we can see many things, and it's really interesting what we see now. And as you said, not only in documentaries and experimental films, but also fiction, and also these films with big budgets that go to these big festivals. They're so interested into memory, from a visual audio point of view. Memoria by Apichat Pong comes to my mind now, for example, a film that really discusses collective memory, and it's a fiction film that uses all the elements of fiction, but it really interrogates the history in such creative and interesting ways.
And that poetics that you say is really tangible, because it's also, there was 3 of you editing, which is also, because working with archive is difficult, right? Because you're trying to connect the story, but also the images. And I think you succeeded that really wonderfully. And as you say, that poeticness, but also working creatively through image, but also text, but also, kind of this surplus level, this meta level that film brings in. And so if I can just bring in just slowly this meta level, or just to think a bit more metaphorically, because this notion so basically in one of your interviews that I saw for the Teddy Award, and so you said, so I'm just going to paraphrase, that you wanted to give a body to these two women. And so that's very interesting because they are even fictional. They do have two bodies fiction-wise. It's a body of work, each of them separately, but also they come together in this one body of work, which is your film. But have you, just thinking about that, I don't know if it brings in you anything to conceive what that body looks like. Of course, metaphorically, it doesn't have to be a female figure, but something that they both carry as one in your film.
I think this body is constructed through the letters and through the images, of course, but the letters and the voices, I think they are the one that they construct this collective body, and also the images that are in the film lead the audience in a direction or other. I think it's. From the beginning, we wanted to have this continuous search, to have the feeling that you found Zahra at this moment, or Maria, and you're not sure, maybe she's there or not. And I think it's I'm really curious how these characters became in the imagination of the audiences. If I just have this idea now, the exit from the cinema, you could draw this, and of course you have the talent to draw them. How different they will look like. Of course, their personalities are different, and also when we worked on the text, we knew that Zahra, she's more revolutionary. She's more taking this kind of more active, wanted to take more risks, and her society was really at the stakes in 79, and Maria is more fascinated by her, and also she grows through the letters that Zahra sends to her, and she's not so more naive in the 89. I think that happened to many Romanians, and also to my parents, that we really believe that all the problems are over and our lives will be great now in 89, when capitalism came, like the images we see in the film with the Lucky Strike and the Pepsi, people throwing Pepsi on the streets. It was really, but people were really naive. But Maria in the film, she's not so naive, because of Zahra, because of her letters, because of all her thoughts regarding the Iranian Revolution, and all her wishes that unfortunately turned into despair.
And so, just to kind of wrap up, your film contributes because to this development of the way that we approach the subject of time and us as human, and what is that makes us human, and these memories that makes us who we are, because they're very unique. At the same time, they are at the same time transnational, because there was, Zahra's might have also had similar rituals or upbringing at some points like Maria, but in a different cultural. And then that also, your film makes us stop and, as you said at the beginning, mirror, and to see where we are and how we connect to those stories. And so I just once again want to congratulate you. And I know it probably doesn't mean a lot, but kind of to suggest support that you continue your work as such further, because there is this richness in that, what it brings to the audience.
Thank you so much. And I think I just want to add a bit that it's really interesting, this angle, because filmmakers, most of the time, they want to have big budgets and money to do everything, but it's these alternative ways of production, these ways were the ones that brought really amazing cinema And I find many similarities between Iranian and Romanian cinema from this point of view. These films, low budget films that they're so focused on the lives of human beings from an anthropological documentary point of view. I mean, the best fictions that we saw, in my mind comes the films of Kiarostami in Iran, let's say, and Cristi Puiu in Romania. They're focused on people with doing their daily routines and daily lives from a very sensitive documentary like angle, and without big budgets, without music and all these elements, you know, trying to be closer to cinema as an art form and to life in a way. And it's yeah, these are alternative, like the non-aligned countries, like they propose something different to the Western let's say in more yeah, capitalistic well-established forms of understanding world and producing art.
Absolutely agree. Thank you, Vladi, for our conversation today. And thank you for being part and showing your film Between Revolutions at the Balkan Film Week in Leipzig, in UT Connewitz, the venue that we really love to work with. And so all the best to you in your future work, and stay well.
Thank you.